Okay. Today's Wednesday, February 17th. Taxation Aid Committee. I will read the Zoom restrictions very quickly and then we'll jump in. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law, the governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Taxation Aid Committee will be conducted via remote participation via Zoom. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend the meeting can be found on the town's website. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. There will be no in-person attendance of members of the public, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event we're unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording transcript or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So let's begin. So it looks like first we're just going to approve the last two meetings minutes, which Brian sent around last week, December 21st. I'll make a motion to approve those. And January 27th, I won't because I wasn't here.
Right. I'll second the motion.
Okay.
I'm good with the older minutes, the December ones,
Excellent.
January ones.
January. Okay. Excellent. Okay.
I approve too.
All right. Well, then we're good. So it looks like today's agenda was to follow up on the conversation.
Liz, I just want to be sure too that the February ones, yes, February. Excuse me. Hal, Marianne, and Brian, 3-0, right?
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me, I swallowed the wrong way.
You mean the
Get it on the record. Sorry.
You mean the January ones?
January
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Got it. Right. You okay?
Yeah. No, I swallowed the wrong way. Oh,
Okay.
bad time for that.
I don't want to ignore you. Okay. So the four of us approved the December meeting minutes. Okay. So I think for today's agenda, we just had to just continue. It looks like you guys left the discussion from last time open, so I really wasn't sure like what we wanted to talk about. And then also, so why don't we do that? And then other business, we could talk about how we're doing with getting applications and the word out since we're in the middle of our magical month. Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I don't know who typed up the.
I did the minutes.
You did the minutes. So what do we need to or where should we pick up today?
So we had a general, just to fill you in, and Marianne and Hal, welcome to complete what I'm sure to miss. But we basically had a general discussion of, first of all, how the fund was doing this past year. I just wanted to give a report on how much we earned. And we actually earned almost as much as we gave out. It was actually pretty
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So like almost 5,000.
Yeah, it was close to the same amount. So that's the good news. That was just a brief discussion. And then we sort of got into some other discussions on how we want to handle the applications this month.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of in generalities. I think that we kind of agreed, and again, Hal and Marianne, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we kind of agreed that we'd sort of use similar criteria as we did last year and put them on that like spreadsheet and remember what the columns were as far as house value, mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. So that was kind of one thing. We didn't get into how much we want to spend. That's something I thought we probably could take care of today if we all agree on like a cap of what we want to spend. And we didn't get into how much per person or per application. I don't know if we, and Liz, you can, and Hal, Marianne, you can also weigh in, but I'm not sure we have to decide that now. And I'm not sure we want to decide that now until we find out how many applications we get. But We certainly don't have to do it today, but I kind of recommend putting that off, to be honest. And then we also just, Liz talked about a little bit about the process of reviewing the applications, because how are we going to do it, you know?
We're all remote, right?
And I
How are we
offered
that?
that, I offered, so basically I offered, we could do a couple things. I don't particularly like emailing the information out, but I could, or we could pick times to come into the townhouse up at the hearing room, which is a nice big room at the townhouse. You've seen it, you've been there. And you could just sit down and go through the applications and take your time, and there's no one up there during the day. So it's perfectly safe, but I just, I think Hal brought this up, and I just, it's a good point of, if people want to do different things, I'm open to it. So that's kind of what the major things I think the discussion was. And Hal,
Yeah.
Mary Ann, if you have more to add, please do.
I think Jeff had mentioned that, could you put a packet together for each of us that we could take home?
Yep, I'm
review
sorry.
At our leisure, and then bring it back with, I guess, our comments. So that was, I believe, Jeff.
I'm
You're
super
correct, Mary.
sensitive to this subject because of the work that I do at work and with privacy. I'd be comfortable with that, but not with us taking home the tax returns of the other people, because they have too much PII, like too much. I don't want to violate the Massachusetts. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the rules, but like if you have social and birthday, Brian, I'd be uncomfortable with us having the tax returns in our homes.
No, I hear what you're saying. And obviously I don't know. Yeah, it gets into weird areas. I don't know the liability if we lost something, or I'm a little nervous about that too. Would you change your mind, Liz, by the way, if we just didn't include the tax returns?
Totally. Yeah, because like last year we had like a folder, because I came in and looked, one day on the floor, like, and in the folder, if you have the application and we start putting together that spreadsheet, and if I'm totally comfortable with that, if you guys are, the tax return I'm uncomfortable with because of the sensitive information on it. But I don't know if I don't know, that's just my 2 cents. I'm also not, I don't know how many applications we're gonna get. We haven't gotten any yet.
Brian?
So we did get one yesterday, the day before yesterday.
Okay.
And I know there's at least one more coming, because I've heard from the person. So
Okay,
so I think we're gonna get some, but
good.
we'll see.
With Brian, with regard to Liz's point, in the taxes, I mean, I sort of feel uncomfortable too, even looking at their taxes. I mean, I don't want people looking at mine. I don't think I should look at others. But if it seems to me, I would be comfortable if you verify the information they provide. Okay, what public to us, their income and things like that, like you did on the spreadsheet before, like last year. You had what they paid for the income and stuff like that, and the taxes. If you verified that, you said, yes, that's correct, I feel comfortable with that, okay, without having to look at their taxes.
That's not a bad idea.
That's a good idea. That works for me too.
Yeah, I could put it like on the spreadsheet, and obviously not include like birth dates, or, I mean, there's stuff that we don't care about. We don't obviously social security numbers, we don't want, and I don't want anything to do with those. So, yeah, we can do that. We can, that's a good idea.
So if you do the spreadsheet, but now you probably would have to put their name, unless you do a number on the application. But so the spreadsheet that you have, and then their applications that we can look at and match them up with the spreadsheet.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Liz, you can also last year, I mean, we all saw the names, right? So, I mean, it was,
When we
Well,
made the spreadsheet, I think for the spreadsheet, we hid the name column and gave numbers, or at least we talked about doing
yeah,
that.
we did. But the committee,
Okay.
obviously, in reviewing the applications,
Right.
you know, and that's part of your charge, so that's fine.
Right. And we were
Mhm.
smaller. It was just, right. It was a smaller number of people, and we were in person, right? It was not a big deal because we were pre-COVID. But that, but yeah, I love that idea. I think, how about Brian reviews the tax returns and sort of and validates that he's done so on the spreadsheet. Okay.
Good idea, good idea.
Now getting back to getting people to apply.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've touched base with, remember I talked about the 3 people that might be looking at people that are in need. So that would be Cindy Beard at the senior center. Then there's, I'd have to look up her name, the woman that, Shannon Kenyangan at the Youth and Family Services, and then Barbara Jandrew at the Southborough Food Pantry. Those would be maybe 3 people that that maybe we can contact and see if they have anyone that they may want to recommend or say, maybe we could get them to, contact the people that they think might need some help.
Yeah, I just did a draft email, so I remember tomorrow first thing, to Shannon, and at least I know Shannon and Cindy I can get in touch with very quickly.
Right.
And Barbara, I think I have her number somewhere. So that's another good idea. I agree. I can follow up with them first thing in the morning.
Do you think so the woman that writes the blog did a fabulous job on that article. I can't take credit for that. I just gave her some information. But do you think that the blog is well read? I haven't the foggiest clue.
Well, it depends upon if people have access to internet and have access, to that particular blog. I mean, I think it's good that it got out there. And like I said, there was also a link to how you can donate, which I thought was great.
Yeah, that's so nice of her.
Yeah. But, again, I mean, who knows? But if you have the 3 people who are directly in contact with people in need for this town, I think that's, one way we can try to get. And of course, the people who applied last year, are they,
Well, last year, Cindy and Pam, I think, really directly kind of like recruited for us because they were seeing residents and friends on a daily basis, and so
Right.
top of mind. And we did put that insert in the
Yep.
the letter.
Right.
But yeah, I'm a little discouraged because I thought that yeah, I don't know. I thought that the word would spread.
I think there's a lot on there. I know there's a lot on their plate at the senior center. With
Okay.
vaccine, all this other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to keep
Okay.
going. And I even think people, in need, they're right now, they're focused on this vaccine. So,
Sure. Great point.
so that's why, again, if we start with the 3 women that I just mentioned, they might be able to just get word out and get maybe even the applications out to the people that they feel are in need. I don't know.
If I recall correctly, the blog said the applications were due at the end of this month.
We made February
February's open, right?
the application month. It's not a
So
hard
they're
fact.
February.
I mean, if they come in the first or second week of March, that's okay too, right?
I was going to ask about what we think our timeline is on this, like when you think we starting to make looking at these and decisions, and when you want to have a final answer for this.
I think during the month of March, we can at least go through them all individually. I don't know,
Right.
Liz, do you think we'll be ready to talk about it in middle of March or?
Well, like when would be the next tax that you could apply to? Is that June 1?
May, it would be
Yeah,
May.
we tried to, I think last year well, okay, so here's if it's, yeah, I think we backed it off to the August
Oh,
tax bill because the May one, if you back it up, it has to be done by, it's mailed out April 1st and it has to be done by like March. Yeah, there's not enough time if you
Right.
back it
Okay.
up. So we have to do the August one, which gives us a little time, but
Yeah.
so basically that drop dead would be about first week of June, somewhere around there.
Okay. Because we might need more time than we needed last year if we're going to need to consult with like Nick and his group, you know?
Yes, that's possible. Right. Right.
All right. So like you're saying like decision by early June. Okay.
Definitely. Which I think is doable. That should be
Oh,
doable.
totally. I think so. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you would see applications as having to be in by mid-March then? Is that a reasonable deadline for us?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean,
Brian, what's your
my
experience?
opinion.
What's your experience? It seems like last time and this time you've mentioned that people have called you as they're working on it. Does everybody call you or contact you?
It's kind of here and there. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I may know someone, like not well, but I may know certain cases, or it depends. It's almost like on an individual basis. So these things are funny. So in going to that, I think maybe, don't give up hope yet, Liz, because I think maybe we may get some like at the end. Sometimes they come in like at the last minute. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that happened last time too. So, it's such a great point you made, Marianne. I mean, we're talking about exactly the group that is involved with the vaccine, right?
Right.
I do have a question about the tax, and not the tax, the Nick's group, and I always forget what their name is.
Oh, yeah,
The trustee
Really
group, okay.
confusing name. Yeah.
I'm not clear about how we can access some of their funds. Did he imply that what we would do was kind of divert them to his group, or is he willing to give us a certain amount of money in our fund that then can be dispersed to give tax aid?
I got the feeling that we're essentially, this was my interpretation of it. We are essentially applying to them, like as an applicant, if you will, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
And then like we're asking for 7,000 to fulfill what we'd like to do.
Right.
They would say, okay, and I don't know how the money gets to us, but I don't think that they're saying, yes, we would love to add to the trust that supports that. I didn't get that because I think what they were, my understanding was they need to grant out a certain percentage of the assets under management every year. So
Right.
It's probably better for them to give us a, annual money to give out instead of I don't think legally probably, I don't know, Brian, but I doubt they could just dump it into our trust, because that was the confusing part to me, was that their trust is basically many, many, many people's wills who left money to the town. So it doesn't have one set like investment objective. Like they're almost answering or having to follow so many different,
Right.
instructions.
Right.
So that was my understanding, is that we're essentially going to, like when we applied for a foundation to Metro West, we're basically going to say like, we would like X and this is why. And I don't know. That was my take.
Okay, so if, let's say we wanted to give out $10,000, just get, okay.
Okay.
And we would take 5,000 from our funds, and we would apply for $5,000 from the trust funds. So how do you take those trust funds then and apply it to the applicants that we have.
Brian does that. We don't get involved. I don't know. We don't touch the money. I don't know. Brian does.
No, I understand that part, but do we say like, okay, if we have 10 candidates, we're going to give them each $1,000. Do we say, okay, these 5 candidates are going to get funded by the trust fund, and then these 5 candidates are going to get funded from us? That's I guess is what my question is.
Oh,
Because, you know, for us to say, you know, we would like to give out 10,000 and give, you know, so much per person, I think we have to be guaranteed that that trust fund is going to then say, well, yes, we'll give you the 5,000, but how does it get transferred so that we can then administer it to 5 candidates that we want to give it to?
Yeah, I think and I agree with you, Liz, that the intent was for the trust committee to sort of shepherd that themselves when we refer people to them. I don't think they intended on giving us a block of money, because there was some legal questions on if they could do it, and just, you know, the bureaucratic stuff and the legal stuff. But doesn't mean it can't be done other ways. But I think, Marianne, you make a good point. The only way I can kind of think of it is maybe we prioritize the applicants, and then maybe we have a set that we know is going to go through the taxation aid, and then we have a set that we approve and recommend to the trust fund committee. And I mean, ultimately, they're their own board, so we can't force them. They could always reject it, but I think I think Nick's point was he wants to work collaboratively with us, and you know, if we do have good candidates, they're really open to seeing them, and we can kind of pass them through the trust fund committee that way. And then maybe, you know, we'll reach the same endpoint, but it's just a little bit different a process for a few people. I don't know of a better way. I can't really think of a better way.
You think you can contact that committee and just find out how we could do that? In other words, if it's that they will say, okay, we'll give $5,000 to these 5 candidates, and then that just gets transferred into your you know, your tax, you know, whatever, you know.
Yep, tax account. Right.
Yeah, the town tax department, then that's fine. But I want to go in with an understanding when we do look at these applicants, that's what's going to happen, or that's what could happen, I guess I should say. Because if they'll say, okay, well, whatever you approve, you know, we'll take half of those people and we'll give them that money, and then, you know, out of our funds, we you know, we do that. I would rather, I'd like to hear that that's what they're willing to do, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can have a conversation with Nick.
how
And
often
Liz,
do
you're more than
meet?
happy to jump on a call or something, but
Yeah, maybe you guys want to talk to him together. I was gonna say, how often do they meet? Because if, to Hal's point, like having a timeline seems like a smart idea. So if that's the case, should we be trying to even let them know, like, hey, your April meeting, we want to be on should we give them a heads up of like where we're
yeah,
at?
that's a good point too. I didn't even think of that. I should give them a heads up of our timeline, because obviously they're not paying attention. They probably forgot what we're even still, you know, that this month is our month to gather some applications. So I'm happy to send a note to the chair and just tell them, you know, be aware, we're going through this, and I don't know if you want to schedule something formally yet, but yeah, he's going to need a heads up. You're right. So I'll do that too. I better put a note or I'll forget.
I'm putting this stuff in the minutes, but that would make sense. I get your point, Marianne, too, because the other alternative too is, let's just say hypothetically we decide we want to give out 10,000, but we think to be prudent with our trust, we really should only 5,000 should come from our trust.
Right.
And say send it to them, and then they say, you know what, we have a lot of money. We'd like to give you 10 grand instead of 5. I mean, I don't know, but maybe I don't know what kind of money they have to give out. And I don't know what, we have absolutely no precedent to go on, but yeah, I don't know. I don't
One possibility, and I don't know whether we're interested in doing that or not, but last year we gave everyone the same amount, regardless of, we gave everyone the same amount. And I'm getting the impression we're leaning in that direction again this year. Okay, that's this, but as I look at the spreadsheet last year, at least from the information on the spreadsheet, it seemed like there were various levels of need. Okay, that some people needed the money more than others. Okay, I mean, we had some people with very, very low income and seemingly high expenses, at least on this, that we might suggest that, well, we will give everyone the same amount, but 3 or 4 people we think really are deserving of more. And we ask for more for those people from this committee.
From the truck, from Nick's group. Yeah, that's
we don't see it as a blanket thing. It goes to everyone, but we say, gee, we've picked out 3 people.
Yeah.
Who we're helping as much as we can, but we think they should be helped more by the town. Okay, we think they need more aid than some of the others, and we'd like to refer them to your committee.
Yeah, I think Nick actually made that point on one of the meetings, that he is hoping that maybe we can refer people if we see them.
Oh.
If we see them that they are in need beyond our committee, that I think he kind of intimated that he's open to having them referred to them.
Is he the one that said that they help with some other things like
They have
oil and
they do the emergency fund. They give, I think, 5,000 emergency fund, and that goes to like the senior center, family services, and so that's part of the emergency fund.
Yeah, so that definitely is a good point, Hal, and I think that's definitely what he's looking for. So I'm totally in favor of that.
So, and how many, Brian? It's you and Nick. Is there anyone else on that committee?
I'm actually not on the committee. I'm not. That's a committee I can't be on. But I'm kind of their admin person. So it's 3. It's a committee of 3 people, 3 residents. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
So Nick and 2 others. Small committee.
Well, actually,
so yeah, no, I think that's all good points.
To our point earlier, I think even a better reason why we don't want to be bringing tax returns out of the building, because we're going to have to share some of this information with them too. Maybe they want to see it. I don't know. Maybe they just want the spreadsheet. I don't know. We should make whatever they want available, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're under the same, obviously, trust things that we are, but I agree. If we can find a way around it, like on the spreadsheet, like we're doing with you guys, that's probably a good idea.
So, how does this work? Like, should we be scheduling another meeting in early March for our group that's not, what is it, executive session, that's not on Zoom, so we can start talking about the applications?
Yeah, I would probably, let me just quickly see the calendar here. I would probably say maybe the 10th. That's probably an appropriate time. Obviously based on everyone's availability, but I think that's probably a good, if we want to keep it till Wednesday.
Okay.
Do we have to do, because we're getting all these emails now, do we have to do a meeting and then go into an executive session? Because we can't even meet as a group without violating the open meeting law. So we open up the meeting and then we go into executive session. Does that work?
Exactly. You open up the meeting publicly and then you read the reason that you have to go into executive session, and then we have to vote to go into executive session. So it's a little bit of a weird process, but clearly, when we're talking about these applicants, and I've had that conversation with the trust fund committee that, and I've actually called I actually ended up calling the Secretary of State too, just to be sure that, with the sensitive information we're talking about, and we're talking about people that we know and that may be having issues in life, that clearly it falls under that we can go under executive session. It's real sensitive information, so
Right.
makes sense. But yes, we'll have to do that.
So can we do set our next two meetings, March 10th and March 17th?
Sure.
And then for March 10th, I guess the days in between the 10th and the 17th, how did we leave it? So is everybody going to stop by the town and look at the applications on their own?
Is that how you guys want to do it, or totally up
I'm
to
not
you guys?
clear on how we left that.
Or do you want me just to remove the tax return and mail it and well, you could pick it up, or I could mail it. Either way, doesn't really matter.
Well, on the application, if I'm correct, okay, I mean, they have to include their tax returns, and you're going to verify, you're going to say, yes, this is correct, this is reporting. It seems to be the information on the application is, if I'm looking at the right application, is there's part B is the basis where they're asked to provide a short description.
Yes.
Yeah, they're asked to provide a description of it. That's something I would like to see. Okay, I mean, even though we may decide to give everybody the same amount, I think I'd like to see what it says, because what we've seen on the spreadsheet is something like just serious med issues or okay fuel assistance or something like that, but I don't have a good sense of the need of these people. Okay, and I feel I might get from that. I don't know, but I guess that would probably not be more than a page, if I'm correct, right? And there's really nothing else on the application that I see that besides their identification and such things, phone numbers and things like that, that I would need to see beyond the income that you provide on a spreadsheet.
Yep.
So that could be something. I don't know how people feel about that kind of thing. Either Brian, you copying and making a PDF and attaching it, because there's no name on it. Okay, there doesn't have to be a name on it or anything. So other than that, what is there for us to see on the applications besides the tax forms and this 3-page application? Is there something else?
Well, marital status, age.
That's all on the identification, yes. But that could certainly be right on the spreadsheet, because the age
Totally.
is
Yeah.
spreadsheet, the length of residence, and whether or not someone's disabled. Okay. And the other information on there is simply as their phone number, their legal residence, mailing address, and how long they've lived there. We don't need their phone numbers to make decisions. And Brian would vouch for the legal address, and he would vouch for the information they provide, that they're providing the tax information.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? No, you're right. You wouldn't really need to see much else, I don't think.
Do you have time, or do you have anyone that can help you at the town hall to go through all these and make the spreadsheet?
I don't think it'll take too long. I think I can do it.
Okay, because I can help, but I don't know how to physically do that.
Yeah, it's so
Brian
much
has no-
harder when we can't see each other.
Brian has no place to go.
Yeah.
I-
That's
I-
true.
I
You can't
suggest
go off.
a horizontal version for bigger print.
Oh, we can do that. That I can do.
Yeah, I agree that that will be okay. And the only thing is like Hal mentioned, the notes. So, you did write some notes down here, and, if there's anything that's really stands out, you could probably do that. But you have their income, and that probably came off of their tax return. So that was their income. And then basically
Right.
showing the value of their home and their estimated tax. I mean, I thought that was kind of really important there. And you did give the age. I mean, you could always put a marital status column in there too, whether they're married. And actually, did it ask how many people lived at the residence? Oh yeah, number of dependents. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that matters because we have income limits whether you're single or married.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So, and just the number of dependents. So I think that basically is what it is. All right, I think that sounds good.
Do you guys have a meeting, Marion? Do you have a senior center friends meeting soon?
Not of Friends, but the Council on Aging. We have a Council on Aging meeting every Friday. Not every Friday, excuse me, the first Friday of every month. So we have a Council on Aging meeting the first Friday of every month.
Okay.
Is there a reason? Was there something that?
Oh, I was just gonna say if you happen to have one like in the next week, if you could just mention it
Oh, okay.
just conversationally.
Right.
All right. Anything else that we wanted to discuss? I think we're going to meet a couple times in March. So, Brian, we're going to do March 10th and March 17th at 4:30. I think the second one hopefully would go into executive session, but if we can't, then we'll push it out. The big follow-ups, Brian's going to hit send on that email to our key contacts at Youth and Family, Food Bank, and Senior Center. And also just at some point, let Nick know that we've got a timeline and that we're going to want to get in front of them. Probably not till April though, because we got to basically be done. And
Yeah.
then,
I agree. Sometime in April, right?
and then we want to run some of this stuff by Jeff next time too.
Right. He's been really, really busy because he does assessing he assesses house values, and he actually did mine when I refinanced like 3 months ago. So anyone who knows anything that the refinancing is like crazy right now. So I know he keeps telling me he's so straight out. So
Okay.
I'm sure he just got tied up. But I'll send an email to him tomorrow.
Okay. Well, and
Poor guy.
I'll give these to you. Okay. I'll give these to you when we're done. You can
Okay.
improve on them and okay. All right. Well, then I guess if there's nothing else, I will move to adjourn the meeting at 5:09 p.m.
Seconded.
Okay, that was easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you,
Yep.
Brian, Liz, Marianne.
Yep. We'll
Stay safe.
talk to you later. Yep.
Good to see you. Take care.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.